Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Madmen with a Box live. I'm Pixel, and that's Chris, and we should have more joining us. Doctor Who is back as of this last Saturday, at least for me. Yeah, Doctor Who's back. The new premiere for season 2, and look who else is back. It's Chris.
It's me. I'm here. Unpaid.
You're just as paid as I am, buddy.
Unpaid. Free.
Do you know why we're here today?
No.
Oh, a British show just came back.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna. You know how little that narrows it down.
That's right. It's one of your favorites.
They brought back Primeval. Yes. Yes.
No. Close. But you're missing a lot more seasons in a blue box.
Primeval had 5 seasons and a spin-off, and there might have been a blue box or a box in there. So
you came really close. Are you sure you don't want to try to make another guess?
Okay. British show, lots of season, blue box.
Yeah.
Don't tell me Mrs. Brown's Boys got another season.
It did! It did! It actually did!
Just when I think life is worth living, I get news like this. That makes me really reconsider. Just maybe I should just stop. How the fuck does that have another series?
It's just been special.
Hey, considering
for the past few years.
No, not to get political, but considering there was a recent ruling in the UK, I can understand why they would continually make bad decisions.
Listen, I enjoy
UK, as always, backwards as ever. Sure, they may have given us the English language and Doctor Who, but
thank the Phoenicians. They invented them. Sorry. There's a ride at Epcot where you go through, and do you remember how easy it was to learn ABC? Thank the Phoenicians. They invented it. It's something that'll live in my mind forever.
That's just like math. Like math was invented by. It's like derived from like it's like Arabic or something. It's like math or just numbers in general.
I don't think so. I don't.
Definitely not.
I'm just quoting the ride.
Okay, my last guess is Doctor Who, I guess, but no one cares about Doctor Who.
You did it,
Doctor Who, you utter bastard!
Yes. Doctor
POV. You think the TV ratings is all that matters, and it only got 2 million.
So yes, Doctor Who is back. Hello to Joe Corallo, who's joined the stage now. I have to fix our bubbles. Yes, Doctor Who is back for the Robot Revolution. It has Shooty, and it has what's the companion's name?
Belinda. Verada.
Her real name.
Verada. It's like Verada or Vada. Sethu.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, they are here to go ahead and bring us into a new season of Doctor Who. Just like Joe is here to bring us further into this episode.
Boy, yeah, what an
opening, what an intro.
No, I mean, he did it. He proved that he could start stronger than space babies. I love a bar that's like a little higher than that, but like here we are.
I suppose it is time we actually start talking about the episode.
For sure.
Joe, if you want to go ahead and just give all your thoughts out on the robot revolution.
Sure.
Behold!
Absolutely better than Space Babies. No question, no argument. That said, like, pretty aggressively mid overall, like, in a way where it was like, there's a lot of stuff I really like in it. There's also multiple things I just hate about it. You don't literally say Planet of the Incels. Like, you just don't say it. Like,
Especially when it's just the...
Yeah. It's one guy. It was such a shitty line, and there's a lot of shitty lines in this story. Belinda as a companion is good. I like her more than Ruby so far because she feels like a person, and Ruby never really did. She felt as like Ruby felt as two-dimensional as some of like the worst like classic era companions. Like, she was up there with like, I don't know, Vicky, like just like kind of there, like, but Belinda, like, I feel like there's promise there. I feel like there's a chance to have some really interesting stories with her. I like the reluctant companion. I like Tegan, for example. I like that kind of dynamic. I think it's an interesting dynamic, and I think it's something we haven't gotten a lot of in New Who. Like, we've gotten some of it, but like it's yeah, it's like one of the areas I think they could really do something in. That said, I don't think like she's not working with Ncuti Gatwa's doctor right now. Like, there's too much of a clash there. Like, Tegan and Peter Davison in particular work really well together. Like, there was this, like, because he felt like he earnestly was trying and failing her, and that worked with the dynamic of Tegan. Here, Ncuti is just kind of acting like a goofy jackass as she's like very genuinely being like, I need to go home, and if you don't do this, I consider this like a real betrayal of me as like a person. And like, he's like failing her while he's just being like a clown, and it's weird. It didn't
it's too early.
Yeah, like, he should have been more earnest in that sort of moment. And like, I get that he was like trying to be, but it was also like, she gave like a monologue about how like betrayed and abused she felt kind of by like men in general. And then he's like, whoa, we'll try to get you home. Whoops a doodle. We couldn't do it. And it was weird. It was a weird sort of like, it didn't work for me at all. Like, he didn't have that kind of touch that you need in that situation. Like, and again, like, if they had more of a, like, if this was later on, or if this was like you either needed a different kind of doctor for Belinda, or you needed her to be more interested in exploring
at first,
and then later in the season being like, I kind of want to go home, and him not quite getting how important that was to her. So like, it kind of felt like the worst of both worlds in that situation. Like, it felt like a real problem there. It was also too cute, I think. Like, the like, oh, you know, the setup and everything, you're just kind of like, as soon as everything had like, it felt very cute and predictable. Like, I'm like, oh, I know exactly where this is going. Like, he's the villain. Like, of course. Why wouldn't he be? And of course he was. Like, but also the way it was set up, a lot of it just didn't make a lot of sense. Like, this felt lazier than some of the other stories Russell's worked on. Like, it felt very... It felt like I have this idea of a sci-fi story where this girl's being betrayed by, sort of like her ex-boyfriend or ex-fiance or whatever. And it didn't feel very thought through past that. It was very surface level on what it was doing, and it ended up being a story that felt like it felt like they thought this was a deeper story than it actually was, and it's actually a very two-dimensional surface level kind of story. So I don't know, I feel like, again, there's things I liked. I thought the Doctor had some good moments in it. I thought Belinda had some good moments in it. I really liked the design of the robots. I liked sort of the world. I liked the Alan sort of design at the end that's revealed. I thought the AI is actually Al was the dumbest fucking thing in the world.
That's so stupid. I love it.
See that only works if his last name, either if his last name started with an I, so it's an abbreviation of like say his name was like Alan Igloo, so AI, or if it was Al, a lowercase L.
Yeah.
Then
But
you
no,
could be like, oh, that looks like a capital L. That looks like a capital I.
No,
so
when
AI.
when the door comes down, it's revealed that it is a capital L.
It shouldn't have been a capital L from the get-go.
I
That's
know,
stupid.
But like,
it doesn't work.
that didn't work for me. And also, what else didn't work? And then I'll let other people talk because I want to take every point of this story because there's a lot to go into. The other thing that like really bugged me was, and this bugs me with a lot of like Russell being back. I feel like he didn't used to be as bad about this his first run, but he's come off as a real dog shit writer the past couple of years. And one of the things that's been really egregious and embarrassing is the amount of like current speak and things like AI has been in the news a lot. I should have characters say AI and talk about AI a lot. And it's like when you watch Classic Who, when you watch the new Who sort of stuff, they do talk about things that are going on now and relate it to, but like, if you're not a dumb fuck, you like talk about it in a way where there's like some metaphor, some nuance. You can like everyone who's like aware of like the zeitgeist knows what you're talking about, but you can watch it without that. And I feel very condescended to by the way Russell's been writing. And that was sort of juxtaposed for me by listening to Fearmonger earlier, which is just an incredible Big Finish story. Talking about it recently on here, I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to listen to it today. I'm like, oh, this is a story that does grapple with, politics and things like that in a way that had a lot of like nuance and heart and thought and makes you think about, regardless of what you think about different issues, you sit back and go like, oh, okay, that's an important point, or I didn't think of that, or it has, whereas a story like this, you watch it, you just watch the opening and you can turn it off because you're like, I know exactly what's going to happen, I know what they're going to discuss, I know the moral at the end of this, I don't have to watch it. Like, and that's bad. That's bad writing. So yeah, while there are a lot of things I do like about it, like aesthetically and moments that the Doctor and the Companion have, it's written like you're the dumbest person on earth if you're watching it.
Gevain?
Well, I have to pick up where Joe just left off about the being written to like I was an idiot. So I think it was about, because I actually had to stop it and timestamp it to see when it happened. About 25 minutes in, streaming on Disney Plus, was definitely my moment of feeling like I was being condescended to. So as a writer, my man Russell has fallen off. It's kind of like when you're a comedian and you have to explain the punchline to somebody, that means the joke is no good.
Yep.
So when you literally sit there and you have one of the characters say, you've taken your coercive control and you've used it to create an entire world of control. This is Planet of the Incels. No. No. And I actually was enjoying the episode relatively up until that point. But at that point, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? That's a move that I would expect from a total rank amateur. That you would have to explain to me literally the point that you're trying to make throughout with this story. Where you might as well just have started the episode with, in the little white type that comes up at the bottom, fades in, Planet of the Incels, and off we go. I mean, that was so amateurish. That's the only way I can put it. And I don't know if he lacks confidence at this point. He does, like Joe was saying, it's condescending. Like the audience is not going to get what happened and what kind of boyfriend or fiance Alan was. But the fact that you have to literally spell out the theme of your story to that degree, for me, does not bode well for the rest of this season. As Mrs. Flood came out and said, "Don't mind me, don't worry, I won't." It's like, I'm not falling for this one again. Okay. It's like, again, you show up at the beginning of this episode. You didn't even show up at the end of this one. I have no confidence this is going to pay off yet again. And the only thing that I really liked about the episode was just the body count. And that was it. Yep. I mean, you had all these people show up in the beginning, and it was just like, there was like, I'm not gonna say like it's a nice moment, but at least it was like kind of just jam packed with like kind of who stuff. Like, I've known this man for 6 months and I've learned to trust him in my life. And don't look now because I'm about to get wiped out by a bunch of robots. Yep. Don't worry, you'll make it. But and it was just it to Joe's point. I think it was sort of lazy. And the thing is that I think I would have been okay with it up until Belinda spelling out to me what the story was about. I think I would have been like, okay. It's like wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Let's get in there. I got a little bit afraid, even though for some reason I like Paradise Towers. I got a little afraid when I saw the one guy with the sleeveless shirt, because I was like, what was the guy? Tex, whatever his name was. That was it Dex?
Yeah, it's Pex. Yeah,
Pex. Yeah, I thought, they're gonna, kind of do a callback to Pex there. And he basically comes in and says, "You better be worth it." Oh yeah, it's not my fault, and then you just never see him again. So who's this guy? He just comes out of nowhere. He comes out of nowhere carrying this other guy. He says this line like he's important or he's part of the the resistance, and then you literally never see him until the end of the episode where he goes, we're gonna do the right thing here and honor the fallen dead and name this the Tower of Shasha 55. It's like, what? It's like, dude, where have you been? It was just like, you know what it is? Now some of you guys might be too young for this. So it's like back in the day, what we would do is, when we really wanted to like eat popcorn in an interesting way, we would take a needle and we would string it through a bunch of pieces of popcorn and put it on there and like have a really good time doing that. Sometimes you make a popcorn necklace or a bracelet, and then you would sit there and just eat the popcorn back and all that. Why? I don't know. Came up with that. And that's what this episode feels like. It's like, why? At a certain point, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? What does this have to do with that? Who is that? Who is she? And then the little robot thing, the Roomba. Yeah, the Roomba, who apparently, the doctor had a connection with, and Belinda understood that, he was on their side, even though you literally didn't really see anything that would indicate that. Except that he accidentally jumped onto the transmat. It was like, here, boy, come on, boy, let's go, come on. Before it wasn't even that. He just happened to be transmat. Oh, sorry, Beggs, I gotta basically, delete you. And then he shows back, and then they do that, Like it's like he's like mercy killing the robot because he can't be used to find the resistance. But yet then he shows back up again at the end of the episode to basically, vacuum up the sperm. What?
Wow. Not only to vacuum that up, he also brought the diploma to Linda.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So wait a minute. So you kill him in the beginning, and then he comes back, and you have no real explanation of how he basically came back. It was the little room, but it was like the little.
But Belinda turned him back on. That's how she got the robots to find him.
When they first came, say it again.
So what happened was, yes, the doctor turned him off, but Belinda turned it back on to get the resistance. Well, not to get the resistance caught, but to bring the robots to them, so that way she could go ahead and sacrifice herself to the machine.
All right, I missed that part because to me, what locked into my brain was that he mercy killed the robot in the beginning. Mercy killed the robot in the beginning. And that's how it was presented. So when it came back, I was like, what is this? To me, it was like it was promising. The episode was promising, but I think it just didn't link a lot of things together. I think much like the last season, this episode was emblematic of it's going to be a lot of things that get set up, and it's going to be very little payoffs, and it's going to be obvious as hell. And in its obviousness, it's also going to be condescending as hell. I can't even tell you the last time I've seen, much less a story that goes out as this is finished and here we go, boys, where you literally have a character tell me what the whole story is about. I don't even know how to emphatically share my disgust with that particular moment. But that's me.
Landry, how's it driving?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm driving. And I joked about that last week, and then here I am doing it again.
Did you get to see the episode, please?
I did.
Thank God. Okay.
I did. And I have opinions. Okay, just to catch me up because I was a little bit late. Have anyone else? I got the last bit, but did anyone else give their opinions yet?
Joe gave his opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna operate with ignorance of Joe's opinion. So I thought it was really bad, and I really enjoyed it. Like it was popcorn on a string, which I remember. It's like it was fun. It was filler. It was fluffy. I love the design work. I love the rocket ships. I love the robots. I get this whole thing where they keep doing with this doctor that they establish that he has all these long relationships because he gets stuck in different places for months or years or whatever, and we never get to hear or see those stories. And I just go, is this just fodder for Big Finish? Is that what this is? Just another character they can use to seed into Big Finish. I don't care because they're trying to. It's clever for a time travel show in a way. It's fun. I get it. And they're trying to do something that is a clever shortcut to create emotional impact over characters that we don't have time to establish, and yet it's not working for me because I just am stuck in but I don't care. It was fine. It's fine every now and again, but they do that. They feel like they've done this a lot with this doctor, and I just don't care.
Yep.
And so I'm left with the whole thing where like. I'm close with her. I've known her for months. I'm going to show her the stars. It's okay. Oh, she's about to die. Okay, here she goes. Let's watch her die now. Like that was fun when we got something slightly comparable with the Eccleston doctor and the girl and that he saves from the game show, even though they don't imply that they hadn't known each other for months, but still same concept. Oh, you introduce this character to die. So that was a little tired. Again, I love the design work, but everything, what little I heard of Gevain there, it's true. Everything about it was grotesquely predictable. I don't always mind that. Like, I don't mind predictable if I enjoy it. I did not mind it here, but it is an absolutely true and valid criticism. I was along for the ride and I enjoyed the ride. It had no surprises. It had one thing that made me really angry, though. One thing that kind of poisoned the whole well for me. And it was the mopping up of the sperm and egg. The guy got reduced down to. It's not okay. So when the first time they tell us like, oh, let's hear every ninth word is basically help me, pain, help, or whatever. Right? So this guy is suffering. He is a prisoner. He wants help, and so he gets reduced back to sperm and egg, and they laugh about it.
Well, he was a bad person though. He really was. He was
doesn't matter.
Destruction.
No, yeah.
Like whenever they go ahead and they show that montage of him being taken back, and the doctor says, "Oh, it's based off of every decision that the AI generator makes is based off of the rage within him.
Right.
He loves the death and destruction and."
But at the same time,
yeah.
He has no agency in it either. He wants freedom. He wants out. He is a prisoner, and they laugh about it. It's tragic. Yeah, they go out of their way to try to make us feel, oh, he's bad. Don't feel sympathetic for him. Then they shouldn't have shown him suffering. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as they did that, they made him more human. And they took joy in it. They thought his pain was funny and his death was funny. And that they really need to pick in general with the doctor is that you don't have a right to do that about this alien who's killed who knows how many people, but we still have to be sympathetic versus this guy who's a human who's bad. He died. It's stupid. He's stupid. I mean, which is it? Is the doctor sympathetic towards his villains or does he just not care?
He literally saved fucking, like, he was sad about snot last season.
Yeah. Yeah, but
like,
this guy,
what are we doing?
Well, the snot wasn't evil though. Al was.
This guy was a bad boyfriend, and then he became a prisoner in an AI because the girl outed him. He inadvertently he became a prisoner of an AI, which augmented and corrupted him beyond measure, but still tortured him at the same time. So yeah, it brought all his darkest impulses to bear, but at the same time while torturing him and making him want to basically, well, he was seeking help, right? He was crying out for help.
Well, that's the confusing part of it, because actually when they do show how he goes, they show that pretty much he's a dick. He literally is like, yeah. He wants this. So in other words, he starts off like he wants this. He wants to rule. It's like, oh, it's like a video game and I get to do whatever I want. It goes like very Black Mirror. And he wants to basically rule over people and be an evil thing. But the problem is that when they do the ninth word thing, which is actually
how quickly is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the first thing, as he is getting like ready to be plugged into the machine and everything, and the guy's like, but this technology seems good, though. 10 years ahead of our time. Do you mind my asking that? Yes, I do mind that. Kill him.
Kill him. Yeah, exactly.
He has the guy killed right there.
He's already plugged in. But he's already plugged in. For all we know, that's already the AI in him.
Yeah, no, I mean, what confuses that is, to your point, is when they do the ninth word bit, it's the fact that now supposedly after all this time that he's experienced being what he thought he wanted, it comes off like he regrets making that decision. But then they kind of jump back to it where he's like, no, I actually enjoy it. It was just a little bit confused in terms of it
needed a kick.
Yeah, they needed.
But the doctor, I'm never really going to be on board with the doctor laughing about somebody dying. You have to pick.
Yeah.
No, it is a weird moment, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad.
But he's not a good guy.
It's not, and that's just it.
He had it coming.
It's not about, and that's just it.
Yeah. How many stories revolve around a bad person that the doctor saves reluctantly? Like, he literally tried to save racists last season.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
He begged them to let him save them. It broke his heart that they wouldn't let him save him, but this guy, he got mopped up. That was weird.
Don't forget Rosa.
Hang on. Rebuttal. I have a rebuttal.
Go ahead.
Polish.
Fair point. Fair point. We have to consider polish. I thought the little robot was cute, but I also thought, the doctor like basically kills it, and then it comes in. I get the logic that may have been going on behind it, but I was confused by that as well. I thought it was a disjointed, a little bit directionless, really fun, beautifully made episode in terms of aesthetics. I love the aesthetics. You know, I live with a woman named Belinda, so hearing the Belinda Queen of the world is not something I'm going to be able to not hear now. So this is going to be an interesting season.
Better not call her miss.
What's that?
You better not call her miss.
Right?
Really
so I liked it. I liked it, but I do not think it was traditionally good. I do think it was enjoyable and fun, and it was poppy and colorful and bright and a bit whimsical, and at the same time, action and violence. So yeah, there's my take.
Okay. Do you want me to go, Chris, and then you'll round us off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I do want to go ahead and address 50%. We got him in the chat. Nick Briggs' performance was robotic. I didn't realize that was Nick Briggs. I didn't look at the credits. He also agrees with you, Landry. Even went to save Davos in Journey's End. Yes. Yeah. It is a weird choice. And see, now I can go ahead and start talking about my comments because I laughed at the owl thing, but they should have had the other A-N like below that. It should have been A-L-A-N, like Alan. Going ahead and putting his name there. That would have been my choice, but because I thought it being covered up and the AI generated. It was fun. It was silly.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I agree about the aesthetics. That's why Manny's there. Manny is basically there to be like a Flash Gordon, like that action hero. That's why he's wearing the tank top and muscles out. It's just to help fill out that aesthetic. And I don't know. It was just fun. I had so much fun. And I watched it 3 times.
Jesus, what's wrong with you?
Well, I watched it one time alone, then I watched it another time with family, and then I watched it one more time today because...
because it was so fucking deep, you needed to like really make sure you understood it before the stream.
That's the thing. I don't feel condescending to her saying Planet of the Incels. It didn't feel like it was speaking to me. It was remarks.
No, it's not really speaking to you. It's telling you what the point.
Pixel, you're married. I hope you're not an incel. You're going to be married.
I'm engaged.
But it's telling that Gevain and I felt condescended to, and you didn't. So it's I'll leave it at that.
Again,
I'm starting to think she's not real, Pixel.
Now.
Is she AI? Perhaps.
No, she's not AI.
No, I think it's great that you found someone. Just hold on to her. Don't let her get away.
It was a fun adventure. I don't know what to tell you. It is weird how he goes about. Oh, he's sperming an egg, but at that point he's dead, and then the polished pot. That is, it's too much. Going ahead and talking about what Joe was earlier when speaking about Belinda's. It's not a speech, but at the end, whenever she is seemingly like she is getting engaged, like, oh, you met my descendant in the future. Does she look like me? Yeah, actually. And he scans. It's more than just she looks similar to you. There is something uncanny here, a coincidence. And then she does a turn. Okay, but I want to go home. I'm not one of your adventures. And the doctor apologizes, and it's this. As soon as she brings up Sasha, and his smile just dies right there slowly. It's something that's really powerful. But I feel like the ending, that scene has something off about it.
Yeah.
And it might be that it is just too early on to have such a strong bit. But whenever he says, "Okay, I'll get you home the long way around," and we are going to have to see how that gets explained at the beginning of the next episode, going to 1950, I don't think that's going to really help get her home. But the one thing we haven't talked about, though, is the end, which seemingly is the reason why they can't get back to, May 24th?
Mm.
The world looks like it's destroyed. It's floating in debris. Yeah. And we also get to see that diploma with that tear in it inside of its frame, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But we're going to have to see how that gets explained later on. But overall, I just had fun. It's a fun adventure. It's much better than Space Babies. It was a much better opener than Space Babies.
Yes.
And I know that's not saying much, but I'm just glad.
It's trying way too hard. Like you mentioned that with the explosion at the end, where it's just like, ooh, there's the Miss Flood thing, and then there's this like mystery with this companion, and now and the world looks like it blew up. It's like, if you just like wrote a good story, you wouldn't have to try so damn hard to impress everyone with all this stuff.
But that's what I feel like it is the interesting when Chris went ahead and tweeted about the end of this episode earlier in the week. Yeah. I feel like it is a much more engaging. The mysteries are much more engaging this time around. Whether or not
if this is how the first season started, I might feel that way. But after experiencing the first season and then seeing this, like they have a long way to go to prove that it's going to be interesting to me, at least.
No, and I'll second that, because I'll say this. If they actually pay this off correctly, I'll definitely revisit my opinion about this first episode.
100%. 100%.
So,
I got no problem with that, but they better pay it off.
Something I just remembered I want to jump into it. I have seen this story before in a webcomic, like in a short, like 4-panel webcomic, almost this exact same story. The star, I bought you a star and now you're the queen, like all of that. I have absolutely seen this before. And as fun as it felt so unoriginal, like in that regard. I've never seen it in Doctor Who, I'll grant you, but it's an old joke.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, and if Pixel don't take it wrong, in defense, from three of us, you're getting this from a writer's perspective, and I think maybe that's the way it's breaking down along those lines. Like there's some things that it's a very trope-heavy Doctor Who episode, which that's fine, and I think that's where the fun factor comes in, because I agree with that part, that the aesthetics are great. There's a lot of fun bits to it. But in terms of like the tying it together in a way that it's like, show me something, it's very, again, I would say it is very amateurish. But like I said, if they can pay this off, if they can wrap all this up and pay this off at the end of the season, I definitely would have a problem revisiting this. So whatever score I give tonight, I will definitely revisit if they pay all of this off.
Yep.
Chris?
All right, so for me, after initially watching it, when it first, the day later, because I had to go out, watching it, I thought, this is kind of good. Kind of good, being the big emphasis. After rewatch, I'm still in that same kind of mindset, but with a lot of asterisks. Yep. So positives, like we've said already, the setting, the design, I've seen a lot of people say, like the robots and the ships and everything, very Douglas Adam, like in design. And I can see that.
Yes.
The robots, the ships, the world, really like the design. Belinda, gonna need a bit more from her, but I think a stronger introduction for a companion. You kind of get the gist of like what kind of person Belinda is. You just need a little bit more. So I like that when she's probably in the rebel base, the first thing she does is go to help people, because that's her job. She's a nurse. So instantly,
nice.
she's not going to. She doesn't just follow the doctor and just wait for him to explain everything. She sees there are people injured. I'm a nurse. I help people. So I'm going to go, okay, where this is empty. Can I replace it? Do you have like equivalent IV, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I really like that. I think that's a really strong character trait with her. And also the fact that she wants to be independent. Hence why, like, why does it have to say Miss? Like, I'm Belinda. I'm Belinda Chandra. I'm not Miss Belinda Chandra. So she's coming off as a strong, like, independent person that cares about other people, cares about the lives of other people because it ties into her job. I will say, I feel like we should have gotten more of her normal life to help justify her reasoning to be, just get me home. Like, because while I don't like the Sasha character, she's a nothing character, and I did not care that the Sasha character was killed. She serves a point. She serves as like, this is the danger of like being with the doctor. So when she throws it back at the doctor, when he's trying to like entice her to this whole adventure, like, I get where she's coming from, but the big like get me home, there's nothing from her life that makes it seem like that's important that she goes back to it. So I felt like if we had a little bit more of her actual normal life prior, I could see why. See, at least with like Amy, we got the like reveal at the end of the 11th hour. Oh, she wants to get back this night because she's getting married the next day. With Belinda, it doesn't seem like she just wants to go home, which I can kind of understand, but I feel like there should be, I feel like she, a bit more to her. Alan as the villain, he's not as fleshed out, and that's, I think, a problem with the messaging, because there's two messages that Russell is trying to do with this. It's a critique of AI like taking over, and a critique of incel culture. And the problem is the critique of AI gets thrown out the window to do a critique of incels, and they are both surface level. They're just the basic surface level of it's bad. And it is AI. If you're going fully reliant on it, you're not using it as a tool to assist. You're using it as a tool to do everything. That is bad. It's not creative. And with incel culture, that's just bad. You're not. Oh, I'm not getting any girlfriends because they just don't like me. Like, I shouldn't be involuntary celibate. I should be getting all the women, all the men, because I think I deserve it because I'm this kind of person. Like, yeah, they're bad, but the episode does only the bare minimum, and not even that to critique them. I do like the whole ninth word thing. I don't think we really mentioned that. I think that's clever. It does get thrown out the window sometimes. It's not consistent, but I do like how it's introduced. And I do like that scene of the doctor giving the whole ninth word explanation. I think that's really clever until, it gets thrown out. Because I think some people have tried to do the ninth word with Alan speaking, and then the whole reveal of help us pain and like stuff like that. Those aren't the actual words apparently. So I don't know. The whole mysteries we've gotten so far, I do like that the doctor is just straight up honest with Belinda. I've met this person called Mundy. You look exactly like her, and I want to find out what it is. It's not like with Clara where she's like, I'm going to travel with Clara, but the real reason being I've met two different versions of you. What's going on here? I've got to investigate what's going on with Clara. How is she popping up as slightly different people, like across time and space? He's just straight up honest with her. You look like Mundy Flynn. She's actually a descendant of yours, but a descendant that looks exactly like you. I need to find out what this is. But even then, I feel like same problem I had following the 60th leading into season 1. We have too many mysteries. Who is the person that told the doctor to look for Belinda, and why she looks like Mundy? Yeah, why does she look like Mundy? Mrs. Flood, the star certificate, which I thought they were just going to do with it's the doctor. The doctor goes back in time or goes into the future and gives the robots the certificate to close the loop. but it's not. It seems to be now a bigger mystery, which could tie into the finale. And then the whole end of the episode, like, what's happened? Why can't they go back to May 24th? What's with all these like landmarks being like destroyed and like stuck in space? But like other than that, like I do have a lot of problems with the episode, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I had fun with it. It's definitely better than Space Babies. It's not the best opener, though.
Oh, yeah.
There are definitely much better openers, like series openers for Doctor Who. But I don't think it's like I don't think it's an awful episode. It's not perfect, and a lot of the messaging and some of the dialogue gets very muddy. Like when Belinda is getting taken by the robots, that whole conversation with Mrs. Flood seems very muddy. It's very clunky. And a lot of like telling, not showing, like they're beaming me up. It's like, yeah, it's a nitpick, but like we can see that. You don't need to tell us that you're being beamed up. So it's kind of leaning towards with Landry where it's like it's a fun bad episode. But for me it's a fun slightly above average episode. It leans towards good for me. I wasn't as angry with this as like the finale. Oh, and also one last thing.
One thing I will say.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I want to qualify one thing. I agree it's above average for the 15th Doctor episodes.
Yeah,
and it's definitely excellent compared to the 13th Doctor episodes. Just as a qualifier, I think it's a bad episode when I look at Doctor Who overall. But in terms of what we had recently, we had some knock out of the parks last season. There are only a couple that were brilliant. Like this is still above average compared to what we got last year. It's just that's not saying a lot, you know.
Yeah. So
sorry, just a qualifier.
That's all right. I'll say last thing for me, because this and Space Babies shares one thing. It is saying the same words over and over again. So with Space Babies, it's the Doctor saying Space Babies. With this one, it is Miss Belinda Chandra or versions of it. Miss Belinda Chandra 1, Miss Belinda Chandra Robots, Miss Belinda Chandraville. I will say...
You didn't love the Miss Belinda
No. I thought as when they kept saying it, it would be as grating as Space Babies. The Doctor consistently saying Space Babies to be like, they're Space Babies was fucking annoying. And this was from someone who semi-defends Space Babies, like compared to this group. Like, but them saying Miss Belinda Chandra and like variations of it was not as grating as Space Babies. I was not as annoyed with it as I was with Space Babies. They're Space Babies. Space Babies. Russell, I get it. They're Space Babies. You don't need to say it every second. It was unbearable in that episode. Whereas compared to here, it really wasn't. I felt like it kind of added to the weird, fun kind of setting of like, there's a star named after me, and also now the planet's also named after me. Wait, the robots are also named after me, and everywhere everything is about Miss Belinda Chandra. So it kind of added to the fun aspects of that episode compared to Space Babies, where it's just like, guys, do you get it? They're Space Babies. We have to say it every time. They're Space Babies. They're Space Babies. Guys, they are Space Babies. I'm telling you right now, they are Space Babies, and I will keep telling you that they are Space Babies because they are Space Babies.
But you mentioning this is just making me think, like, it's so paper thin. Like, what the fuck are we even doing when the star and the planet and everything's named after like one like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no reason.
I think that's the problem with they don't close that loop of like the whole the robots and the people basing their whole society
around
off of the certificate.
diploma.
Yeah.
Like, we don't.
That's the whole point. They're going to revisit it. So
yeah, they are going to revisit it. So
they are,
because what just got mentioned in this with Chris's is that you're talking about. Well, you know, when it came to Amy, there's a reason why you knew she was going back, and Belinda, you didn't have that. Then we have the star certificate, which is what? It's the crack in the wall from Amy that first season with 11 and Amy. and that's what. And the thing is, it's like it's trope heavy because he's revisiting things. So because he's revisiting things and doing this passage of it all together, look, I agree that it's fun, and I was actually on board for the first 25 minutes until you just tell me what the story's about. I actually was on board for it. So I think the thing is that the episode is encouraging. Like it's like, okay, you guys are like you're kind of it was fun and you're getting there, but it's like to a point that Joe made. After going through the first season, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. It's not that I'm not having a good time, babe. It's just I don't know. It's like I just don't trust that they're going to bring it home. So I don't have a problem with them, laying up and putting out these mysteries, even if they seem very familiar to the point where Landry's like, I've seen this whole story this bit before.
Yeah.
Are you going to pay this off in a way that's different than before, and it's not going to leave me hanging like it did the first season? And I think even when we did our speculation last week, that's what a lot of this is. It's this weird like tension of like, look, I really want to like this doctor. I'm really rooting for you guys, but it's like honestly, after that first time up to bat, I don't know if I could take another disappointment like this. And I think this episode, I think the first half of it, roughly the first half of it, I was like, okay, all right. And then the back half of it, it's just like, come on, man. Again, really, really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like how many times are we going to come back at it when it keeps, we keep getting hit by it?
Yeah, basically.
It'll be different this time. We're all a little gun shy. We've been through this cycle of abuse before, and so the bar is different. We had a lot of goodwill last season that isn't there now. It's distrust. Now we're concerned. Like I'm probably definitely more critical to this. Like, okay, Doctor Who it plays with tropes a lot. I like playing with tropes. I enjoy tropes, but now because it's there's that investment in the story of the season. Well, I don't trust it to be delivered well. So I'm hesitant.
When Russell's not drinking, he really writes really good stories.
He doesn't mean to hurt me. He's a good man.
Well, let's go ahead and give it our rankings. Joe,
before we go into our ratings, I want to point out what Ashan says. A funny thing is she apparently got all the nurse stuff wrong. I'm just going to hand wave that away because radiation-free X-rays, that doesn't exist.
Yep.
X-ray is a form of radiation. But again, this is a sci-fi show. Yeah. This is a planet where they look human, but they're not entirely the same. So I can hand wave that away. Their version of X-rays just don't have radiation.
See, Martha would make that mistake, but okay, go
ahead. Martha wouldn't yet.
That's true. But for me, I also want to piggyback on a point that Landry made before about how they keep doing stuff with this doctor where he's like, oh, I have to be trapped here for a year to do this and that. Like it's happened a couple of times, and like it annoyed me in this one because I'm like, the last time we saw you just did a bit where you were stuck somewhere for a year. Now you're doing a bit where you were stuck somewhere for 6 months. That sucks. That just it just sucks. It's not good. It's bad.
The equivalent to this would be if what if after the TV movie where the Eighth Doctor had amnesia briefly, he got amnesia again? Oh wait, they did do that in the Eighth Doctor's novel. He gets amnesia again, and then it becomes a consistent character trait with him that he would just sometimes get amnesia because the plot demands it.
Yeah, it was bad.
Actually, now that you pointed it out, I'd never noticed that. It's like, oh yeah, literally, Joy to the World. He spent a whole year with someone.
Yep.
And then this one, he spends 6 months on the planet.
Yeah, and he spent 6 months on this planet, and again, it makes the doctors feel incompetent. He couldn't figure this out in 6 months. Like, you know how many stories we've watched or read or listened to where the doctor gets dropped into a planet and like he figures that shit out in like a day, 2 days, maybe a week, and now it's 6 months to figure out that lame shit? Like, are you kidding me?
A writer at Screen Rant made that same point that he's coming off as incompetent.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, he comes off as incompetent. He comes off unable to do stuff. Like, I mean, he was tricked by AI and Al for 6 months. He couldn't figure that out. He couldn't. We have watched so many stories where the doctor frees his captured TARDIS or disappeared TARDIS. You're telling me that this was like he figured that stuff out in like Frontios in like a day, and this was 6 months, couldn't find his TARDIS? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
And even
That's
if
a really good point.
And even if the doctor doesn't figure something out and the companion does, it's mainly because the doctor is just not noticing it.
Yeah.
Like in the doctor's daughter, Donna is the one that figures out, oh, the numbers are a date. And this isn't a generation-long war. It's only been like a few days. Because, or like something like that, because she's noticing those are actually, that's a calendar. That's time. That's a date.
Donna at least
the doctor's not noticing that because he's not looking out for that. He has he's mainly worried about the war and having a new daughter now and all that. So he's not going to be like, oh, why didn't I figure that out? Like,
yeah, but like, yeah, here, like, there's just so much working. Like, this story, like after the failure of the previous season, this needed to be a straight up fun story without all the little, strings to it. This needed to be just a fun romp. And instead we get bogged down in trying to tie it into different things and everyone having to be really stupid to make the story happen. And this is a 3 out of 10 for me, and I feel like I'm being generous. There's so many plot holes, like not plot holes, but so many things where it's like the doctor is way too stupid for this story. The reveals are stupid. It's condescending. It's setting up something that, again, like we can't trust that he's going to pull this off. He utterly failed last time. And then why wouldn't he fail this time? I mean, weren't these more or less filmed in pretty quick succession? Like, what wasn't this done in a way? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, because this was being filmed when season 1 was airing.
Yeah, so there's no real, like, we have no real indication that any criticism or any feedback from season 1 got implemented in this. So there's a very good chance this is gonna just be like season 1 all over again. So
yeah, that's something I said last week. Is this feels like it's going to be part 2 of season 1?
Yeah, so like unless this, like, Mrs. Flood or Miss Flood and some of these other like reveals are like real knockouts, like real knockouts, I have a hard time seeing where this really takes off. If this ends up being the worst episode of the season, great. Then we're in a really good place, and there's a lot of potential, and it's possible. There have been more than one season of Doctor Who where they're limping at the start of it and they're running by the end. So like I'm still hopeful, but yeah, 3 out of 10. And again, like, I feel like I'm being generous.
Gevain?
gonna borrow a little bit from Chris here, but I'm going to go 5 with an asterisk.
Sure.
And I got to go 5 with an asterisk because this episode feels very much like a split decision for me. And I think based on what Joe was just saying, and then I think based on what we were talking about last week and was just mentioned now, if this is a roadmap, a story map, where it's basically we're telling like this story over 2 series or 2 seasons, then while at the end of the day, once this season completes, you might say that it was poorly paced to get from Sunday, Ruby Thursday Street, whatever that was, the very first episode of season 1 to the finale of season 2, then I would just say they were ambitious and they didn't quite get the pacing right throughout the 2 seasons if they managed to pay this off. If it turns out that no, they just really was just kind of taking shots and it was very haphazard, then I'm going the other way. And if I were to revisit this, I would probably be closer to Joe's 3. I'll be closer to Joe's 3 if this season doesn't pay off. If this season pays off, I could bump this to a 7.
Yeah.
And just account for the fact that this is like we're at the midpoint, on the other side of the midpoint of a 2-season story that they got too ambitious and couldn't really execute it in terms of the pacing of it to kind of keep you engaged with the story. But I agree with Pixel and Chris that it's fun. Like I said, for me, the first half of it, I was like, okay, let's see what this goes. I was encouraged by it. That speech for me was telling. That's the best way I can put it. It was telling. It's like, oh no, there's still whatever it was about season 1 that I didn't like and ultimately didn't pay off. That's still part of this show's DNA, and I need to see less of that for me to be like scoring any higher, because I don't want to fall into what Landry rightly said. You start off giving 2s and 1s now or 3s, and then when you get to some other episodes, it's like what, -5. So I don't want to do that. So I think right now I want to give this season a chance. I'm gonna go 5 with an asterisk.
Landry?
Very, very similar take with me. In fact, I was even thinking the same kind of numerical split. I think quality-wise, I'm looking at a 4 here that plays like a 7. Like, it's fun to watch. It's engaging. The acting is fun. The sets are great. The designs are beautiful. There's a lot to enjoy. It's just not in the story. The pacing is off. The plot is off. The idea is tropey and overdone. But at the same time, is it fun to watch? Yeah, and sometimes that's really just what we're looking for, is something we enjoy, not that we analyze and criticize, but something we just enjoy. I enjoyed it. On an enjoyment level, it ranks higher. If I'm looking at it just critically, it's a 4, but it plays like a 7. So if I were to say, I'd go in the same thing. I'm going to even myself out, probably 5, maybe 5.5 from me. Yeah, I'd go 5.5 if I'm averaging it out. It's kind of context dependent because they've built this episode into a framework of something larger. So it's like reading the first chapter of a book going, do I like this book? Well, I don't know. I've only read the 1 chapter. Yep. So we'll see.
Well, I'm just going straight 7. It was good to me. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the timey-wiminess of it. And the doctor waiting 6 months didn't bother me because he was waiting for Belinda. He says he was waiting specifically for her. But
people were suffering and dying for 6 months. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, that's not a thing the doctor... Continue.
The man has a right to feel how he feels.
All right. I'm all by myself. It's okay. It's 7. Go ahead, Chris.
For me, like I said, there are problems with this episode. Both of the messages are, or critiques are, very just bare bones basic. There is no really a critique out of like, they're both bad. Like that's it for the critiques. It's like, yeah, I could just go on the internet and see those critiques myself. Like, I don't need an episode of Doctor Who telling me that. I already know that AI fully replacing something on like a creative level is bad, and that being an incel is bad. Like, I know that already. I don't, but this episode just barely critiques them and barely fleshes out those critiques. Other than that, we're getting 20 million different plot threads again at the start of a series. That's just very annoying. Like, unless by the end, if at the end they're like the best reveals like ever, and then maybe I'll recontextualize how I've viewed RTD2 at this point. But at this point now, I'm just sick of plot thread, and either they're just not going to be answered, or the answers are just very disappointing and lackluster. Yeah. But regardless of that, Belinda was a standout. Love the design of the whole Miss Belinda Chandra world, all of that, the robots, everything. And I just had a fun time. I had fun with Doctor Who, and that was what was really important. Even with a lot of my criticisms and the bad things that were in this episode, I had a fun time. So I'd give it. I said it's kind of above average with asterisks. So for me, I'd say about 6.5 out of 10. That could change depending.
We're being so generous for a guy this is what, his 7th season show running this fucking thing, and who's been involved on and off with Doctor Who for 20 years. And, we're all like, maybe next time will be a little better. Oh, yeah.
Joe, if I may go biblical for a minute, look, we're holding on to the hope for repentance. We realize that their hearts are captive to Satan, but we have hope that God will lead them to repentance, and we will get the Doctor Who season.
I went in neutral. I'm going to be like, I have my criticisms of Russell's previous series. It was fucking bad how it ended. Yeah. I don't know. But I'm going to go in neutral. Maybe it's going to be good. Maybe it's going to be bad. Yeah. And I went in being like, okay, there's bad bits in this, but I had fun.
And look, Joe, we may not.
But I'm still going to be neutral. I'm still going to be neutral. The next episode looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. But I have my problem with that. Are we just going to get Devil's Court again?
No, for sure. And I'm going in neutral on all this stuff. I went in being like, Belinda looks interesting. Let's do this. And I don't care how I feel about this one. I hope the next one's a 10 out of 10. I hope every episode I watch is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I do it.
Well, we all have hope.
When Russell fucks up, I will say it.
Yeah.
I will. From my chest, I will say sack Russell T. Davies, sack Julie Gardner, sack Jane Tranter. Honestly, it's the bottom of the barrel with Russell was the previous series finale. For me, it's been a while since I've watched series 1 to 4, but for me, that is bottom of the barrel. You have to be better than that. If I get that same level or worse for any of these remaining episodes, I'm like, it's going on break. Good.
And I mean, so much of this gets recontextualized with history, right? I mean, we went from, the John Nathan Turner years were the shittiest time ever, and everyone hated it, and the ratings plunged, and everything from the more he took over, the worse it got. And if you even acknowledge Sylvester McCoy as a doctor, you're worthless. But like, it's things change. So you know, who
it's
knows?
like with Star Wars, like everyone's like, oh, the prequels are actually good. No, they're not. It's just the sequels. Yeah. The sequels is oh so bad. The prequels are still bad for a myriad of reasons. The sequels are oh so bad. There's no like, just because the sequel trilogy is bad doesn't mean the prequel is like a masterpiece now. No, it's a very bad trilogy.
No, and and there's still a chance that years from now people are going to look back and go like, man, those years when Shooty Gatwa was the doctor, like I miss those. It's really fallen off since then. So
RTD3, RTD3 is the worst era.
I know. I promised I'd never come back again, but
again. Who knows? Russell is saying a lot of things. Like he had the whole thing like before this episode aired, where it's like, oh, Doctor Who's like Robin Hood. No, sometimes it always just comes back in the end. It's always there, and it's like you don't want to say that before the episode drops, like a day before the episode drops. Like don't say that. Don't say that like, oh, there's a chance that Doctor Who just might not be on. It'll come back eventually, but it might not be on. But then I think like afterwards he said, oh yeah, I've got like season 4 and 5 planned.
Yeah. Well, that's like it's a way to try to do stuff to rile people up so they watch it, to get this like, oh, if I don't watch it when it comes out, like they might cancel it, even if they don't think it's actually going to get canceled. I feel like it's all this like 4-dimensional chess PR teams try to play on shows, and if they, when they come out.
It's the whole engagement thing, which I think it's an unfortunate thing that has to happen, even though I don't really like the whole, like, that's what he did with season 1. It's just mainly base it, like, around, like, we need to get viewers engaged. It's like, no, just give me a good season. And you kind of did it in a lot of parts. It's like, oh, we need this mystery about Ruby's mum. It'll get people engaged and they'll talk about it. She was pointing at a sign, Russell.
Yeah. Yeah, but like the previous series, their season, there were like whatever it was, like 3 really standout stories or whatever. And I hold out hope that there's going to be at least that many this time, and maybe it'll be the next episode, maybe it'll be the episode after that, but we are going to experience a genuinely high quality story or multiple stories this season. It happens every season. It's going to happen.
And let's remember, they also have the extra burden of they're doing some damage control. That's the other part too that I think gets lost in a lot of this, is that the Jodie years, even though I think a lot of ways it was unfair to her, they are doing damage control. They really are, and that was evidenced by by Tennant and Catherine Tate coming back. It's like, they ran a real risk of. It was either do that or just go on hiatus.
No.
And
there's a third choice.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Landry.
Sorry. You're absolutely right. That's what they're doing. But this is a mistake. Speaking from the creative perspective here, right? That we can relate to is they had a third choice. Turn left. Do something completely different. Reinvent the wheel.
That's true. Yep.
And instead they went back to the well. Like, it was really popular in 2006 when we did this, but it's not 2006 anymore.
Yep, true. Yep.
And they're just giving us the same thing. It's like if after Sylvester McCoy, the show didn't go off the air, but they went back to the black and white William Hartnell, which I would have loved, but you get my point. Like, they just
You're right. Yep, you're right.
Like, when we see it. We see it a lot in say comics. We see comics where it's like, it's time for a reboot. Let's just not redo the same thing. Let's change it. Let's innovate. Let's change it for a new audience. And they did that so wonderfully in 2006.
It's original.
Wonderful. Sorry, go ahead.
They went the original Jason Todd route. And that's why Jason Todd was one of the most hated Robins, because you literally just made a Dick Grayson clone. You literally.
Yeah, the version that dyed his hair, right? Like that one.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Yeah.
But like you saying that, Landry, could you imagine if just one story this series or in the next couple of years They just opened with the original William Hartnell opening, and it's Shuri Gatwa and it's Belinda. And they do a story that's in black and white with the low budget sets, and they treat it like
I would love this.
It's from the 60s.
I would love
They
this.
teased that in one of the 50th specials.
Right? And they do
Literally.
it. And if they do it like that, and they do it as if it's a two-parter where they have a cliffhanger in the middle,
Yeah.
and do like a break and then go right into the next part, like,
Well, they
I
get
think-
all my money.
yeah.
I'd send them
Yeah.
my money.
That would
I don't even
be-
ask for it. I'd send it.
that
But-
would be incredible.
So, a quick aside: has anyone talked about how bad the viewership is? Because I just looked it up.
So that's TV ratings.
It's
Which-
live television ratings. Nobody has live television anymore. This is a streaming show now.
Yep.
2.2. It was still the third most watched thing, I believe.
We're going to
Over
see
there
how
in the
it comes
UK.
up on the accumulator. But I mean, this was the case last season too, and the ratings were higher.
But I mean, everything is
Hang on, let me
even
double
more.
check. Keep going.
Everything is streaming, even with freaking ads everywhere. Drives me crazy.
Let's see. Doctor
Okay,
Who.
series 14. I would say, technically.
Oh, the fourth highest viewed show of the day in the UK.
These are overnight views. Overnight views are the people who watched it the day it streamed and the next into that night over that 24 hours. Whatever. Those who watch it live and those who record it and watch it later that night. So that night, those who watch it that day was 2 million.
Mm-hmm.
This is an exceptional low in terms of just numbers. Now there may be reasons, as you say, but this is for a first episode, this is the lowest I think we've ever seen.
Like I said, though, it's a show that's mostly watched on streaming, and I don't
think that's
Disney Plus
new
doesn't
to the
release
season,
their
though.
optics, especially not.
Yeah, but that was also last season. Like,
last
seeing
season,
it. Pixel seeing it now. I do agree with, and we talked about this earlier, and I didn't have the context of seeing the previous series stuff, like Space Babies, 4 million.
Well,
This got less than half.
Well,
Or
no, in
about half.
fairness, we're talking about overnight numbers only still. And
Okay.
so
Hang on,
Space
wait.
Babies episode 1 was 2.6 million.
Yeah.
Sean is saying that this got less than Legend of the Sea Devils, which was 11th of that day, but TV in the UK overall, live television is declining.
Which is funny when they tried it. A lot of the Doctor Who content is exclusive to the UK, but it's mostly like for streaming.
But what we see, like last season, we've got a good example of how much of a bump you get when you add in the streaming factor, because they account for that. The overnight ratings do not account for that, but the other ratings that come out when are generated. So Space Babies launched with 2.6 overnight, and then it ended with 4.01 million. That's only 1 point. That's less than half the viewership is coming from streaming. Most of the viewership last season under the same system was still overnight. We see this if you go back through the seasons. While I get that maybe a slight uptick over time in more people are streaming and less people watching it live, it's not as big as you think, and it is not bringing the numbers back to what they were. I think we can probably expect the final numbers here to end at about 3.6, which if they do end up about 3.6, that puts it, like, for a first episode, low. That's a concern. The special, which was the last one we got before this, overnight had 4.1 million and ended with 6 million. So we're starting with half of what the special started with. So the last episode, just a few months ago, had double the viewership.
Well, let's hope the rest of this season is great.
I will say we'll have to wait till the final consolidated viewers comes through, because that's still being listed as TBD. So, but yeah, 2 million from the get-go, it is low, but I will agree to an extent with Pixel that I think the streaming platform now, and it being heavily like for streaming, isn't also helping the live viewer ratings as well. Like, more people are going to just watch it online. Even with like the fact,
and as Sean is saying, the weather has been really good in the UK.
Well, we can come up with all these different excuses, but none of them work for like executives. One of the other things here too, which I'm curious how much this might be affecting it, is like last series, for example, is no Daleks, no Cybermen, no Master, no recognizable villains. Like is that no like real major comebacks? Like, who fucking cares that Mel's back? I mean, I do, but like, you know what I mean. Are these things that are hindering audience interest? Because like we can all talk about how maybe like, oh, you know, we need more new stuff, but like you look at comic books, you look at movies, you look at all these things, and it's like people always say they want something new.
Yep.
But then they always come when the thing I recognize is back, or the Doctor's fighting one of these things, like Big Finish stuff. They always get spikes when it's like a Dalek story or Cybermen's or like a story with a recognizable villain compared to a new villain. Like, just always, that always sells better.
You see,
So
Joe,
I'm ready for Daleks to come back.
You have to say that in your Christopher Walken voice. What this series needs is more Ronnie. Come on.
I will say that also I would say the marketing for this current era hasn't really helped as well, especially in regards to it being like, this is a fresh start.
Yeah,
this is something where we can get new viewers in. That like they won't really need the context of like the previous series to come into this. Then it's like, no, because by the Devil's Cord you would have had to at least watch the 60th, especially the Giggle, to kind of understand the whole toy maker side to the Maestro. And then you have Sutek at the end, where you would have had to watch a 40-something old episode to understand Sutek, even though they try and give you the cliff notes in that finale. So that as well doesn't really help. Like,
yeah, but that's the Landry's point, is that about the third option, is that with the return of Tennant and Tate, they didn't cut the umbilical cord, if you will. It's the fact that they were first of all, it wasn't a fresh start. To your point, Chris, the marketing was come back because we're going to give you more of like that warm apple pie that your mom used to make. But then when they had the opportunity to really kind of give it to Chuti to run off on his own, they didn't. Tennant is still running around in some places, almost an admission that, hey, if the 15th doesn't work out, don't worry, guys. We still got 14th in the back pocket just in case. It's a
break in case of emergency.
Yeah.
Again, I don't feel that. Like that. That's not something that I feel, because like
I'm going to be honest. The longer I think about it, I think that is the case, because there is no reason to give quote unquote the 10th Doctor needed a resolution, a proper resolution.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he doesn't. That's why it's bittersweet when he dies, when he leaves. He doesn't need a proper resolution. He doesn't need I need to settle down and have a family. 11's had a family. 12 has settled down for a bit when he was watching over Missy. He became a fucking university professor. This contrived, the Doctor needs to rest, especially this face, the David Tennant face, the 10th Doctor / 14th Doctor needs a rest, and you still give him a TARDIS. It's like,
he rested by regenerating into somebody new. That's how he found recovery. He changes, he grows. It was so regressive and it's so antithetical to the message of the Doctor. Like, terrible idea.
And it also going from the new era, going from New Who, you look at every Doctor that regenerates, a lot of them just accept it. Like Nine says, like, you know what, like, you were fantastic, and so was I. Yep. With 11, it's like, I'll always remember that the Doctor was me, and with 12 being like, Doctor, I let you go, and 13 is like being like, oh, I kind of wish I knew what would be in store for me, but it's bittersweet ending. With 10, as much as I love 10, his is I don't want to go. It's like, I don't want to. Even without now the added context of like, he was on his last regeneration now, if he regenerates. Before the whole 50th anniversary and time of the Doctor and all that, recontextualizing that, it is very egocentric. And that's the big thing with 10's Doctor, is that he has an ego. Even 11 says that, oh yeah, I had vanity problems. It's like, he's really, of the new era, the only Doctor that's not like, okay, I'm accepting this. Like, I don't want to die, but I had a good run.
Even the War Doctor accepts it.
Happy ending with Rose the last time around. There's another version of him running around in an alternate universe with Rose. So to give him a second resolution for something that already got resolved, it's just like, come on, guys. It's we know
it really is. And like, David loves the show.
Yes,
and I love David Tennant as the Doctor. And if they asked him, we definitely want you to come back, I feel he would be there in a heartbeat, because he loves the show, he loves the fan, and he loves the role. Yeah. But it really does feel like we've left 14 here with no real explanation of how it's supposed to finally come back to 15 as a breaking case of emergency. As much as until the bi-generation, I really enjoyed the 60th anniversary, and it was good to see David and Catherine back together, because that dynamic just works, of the Doctor with a best friend, more so than Ruby. Like, the whole thing with Ruby's like, oh, we're besties, and it's like, I don't believe that. It seems like you do, but I don't believe it. I believe it with the Doctor and Donna, because there's also conflict. They're not going to see eye to eye with each other on everything. But with this one, with 14, it just seems like until we get an actual like proper explanation of bi-generation, it feels like he is just there as a just in case. If they're going to be that cynical, if Russell is going to be that cynical and be like, we need to bring people back again, I'm going to wheelchair David out. Because it really does feel like that. I hope it's not, but with how it was like, quote unquote, resolved, it does feel like that. He is there to bring the older fans back.
Oh yeah.
Because that was the whole point of the 60th. It's like, we need to bring them back. We need Doctor Who to be big again. That's the people that made it big in the first place. So if we bring David back, it'll bring people in, so they can jump into this new era and maybe fall in love with a new Doctor. We brought them back with David. Maybe they're going to fall in love with Ncuti. Hey, I wasn't a big fan of Matt Smith. I was going to be like, how dare you replace David Tennant? David Tennant's my Doctor. I love him. Get out of here. Really love Matt Smith. Was incredibly sad to see him go as well.
He was given the room to win us over. That's the whole thing. He was given the room to win us over. And
they hamstrung Ncuti. They hamstrung him by tying him to David.
Yeah.
I just haven't thought about him. I watched the 60th anniversary, and I've thought less about David Tennant as the Doctor than any of you. I don't know.
We're seeing it from a marketing ploy. That was definitely a marketing ploy, because it got people wondering what's going on here. Is this okay? He's coming back for the 60th. Is this older 10, like weird alternate timeline older 10? But then we had the reveal of like 13 becoming 14 in a one-off regeneration a la 1 to 2, and it got us all interested and be like, yeah, what's going on here? We haven't seen this done before. And even the Doctor is shocked about what's happened. But then we get bi-generation at the end of this supposed reveal. And then the supposed reveal being like, you're exhausted. That's why you got this face again. It's to tell you that you're tired and you need to settle down. And it's like, that doesn't work unless you ignore every other series beforehand.
Doesn't she look tired?
Doesn't she look
That's
tired? And before we finish up, as Sean says, we also don't know the exact Disney Plus viewing figures, but they did say that Doctor Who was one of the most watched shows on Disney Plus in the week the episode was released.
That's because Pixel watched it 5 times.
Well,
I watched it 3 times. I really liked the episode. It was a good episode. I consider it a good, solid episode.
So did I. I thought it was fun with problems. I thought it was
Man,
fun. We're not trying to convince you that you're wrong, Pixel. We're not trying to. One of us.
In answer to Sean,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't know the Disney Plus their numbers specifically. Just going by the Doctor Who TV.co.uk ratings, which I've been tracking since, I don't know, for like 8-9 years. So we get to see how it compares to every other episode of Doctor Who since then, in terms of the British public, the original Doctor Who audience. And while we might see, this is only ever taking into account the UK viewing figures. And the UK viewing figures are, so we pick one level metric for every episode to compare it against. If we compare it to, like I said, the holiday special, the UK numbers for that, we have them. And the overnight episodes for the UK numbers for the new episode, we have that. So that's why we can look and go, well, we have half the numbers since the Christmas special. Or we have, 20% less or whatever. Compared to the first episode of last season, which was also on Disney Plus and also streaming and all that, marketed the same way. So we have those numbers. Those are locked in. So the only reason the Disney Plus numbers will matter, we would want to compare them to the previous Disney Plus numbers. But if we're only comparing them to the UK figures, then it's consistent.
Also, I feel like there could be multiple other reasons. I was going to say maybe because it's now, for the UK, it's an 8 a.m. and a lot of British people were complaining, well, I've got work. How can I watch it now? Yeah, in the UK, it's a morning show.
Oh, no.
That's why they were complaining. They were complaining, even though it's still a Saturday for them.
No,
it's a morning.
I think
show.
No. I think it releases on iPlayer in the morning. But they do have a showing at like 8 o'clock at night, like they used to.
Oh, okay. So it's still at 9 for them. Okay.
Season, when they
but then again,
these ratings will take these UK figures take into account anyone who watched it that day in England.
Yeah.
Whether it was as it broadcast or whether it streamed on that day, those, if I understand correctly. The overnight ratings only include those who watch it live and those who recorded and watch it later that night. So it's not the streaming, but it's so we'll see when the rest of the numbers come down. But judging by how the streaming figures usually run, I'm going to guess we're going to be at like 3.6, 3.7 max for the overall figures for the UK.
Yeah.
Which is down.
And I was going to add, like, if we're going from streaming, like the previous one was at midnight. For at least UK, I think same with iPlayer because they wanted it at the same time, and still a lot of people are like, I'm not staying up till midnight to watch that. But even then, it like Church and Ruby Road got, what was it? UK viewers was over 7 million, and then Space Babies was 4. So I think even with the different time, it was still a bit higher. I feel like maybe some people were just scorned by the last series finale.
It's down. We're supposed to be seeing with the Russell T Davies return. That's why I kind of brought it up again. And we're supposed to be seeing it return to the greatness. They want to see those 11 million viewers again, but instead we have less than we had during most of Whittaker's run. Like, where's the boost that Russell T Davies is supposed to bring? Where's the 2006 return? It's not happening.
Yeah. And at least with other series, you can account for like an exterior reason why the numbers were high. Like, Church on Ruby Road, full first debut episode with 15. Wasn't the first episode he appeared in, but it is his first full episode, and was also the return of Christmas episodes. And then Space
also
Babies being
on
his
Christmas.
first. It was also on Christmas. Space Babies being the first episode with the new companion properly for their first adventure and the start of the series. And then if you look at the previous series, if we're not counting like series 1 where it's like, obviously the numbers are going to be big because it came back and everyone's like, okay, how's it going to be now that it's back? You go with like Christmas Invasion, debut of a Doctor. Then after that, it would be, well, David is the most popular Doctor, so the numbers are probably going to be big for those first initial episodes. Yeah. Matt Smith, debut. Series 6, I would say the start would be a big one because it's a 2-parter. And I think that was also their big push to America as well. That's when it got big. That's when it got really big. When it's like, as soon as they start pushing it to America, it started to get really big. So numbers would have been big there. I feel like after the split series, I feel like with 7, it died down a bit until 12 got his debut. Again, 13, big numbers as well. So I feel like, yeah, this is just Shooty's second season, and could be a myriad of other reasons. We don't know why it's only about roughly 2 million so far for the UK audiences, but
well, you also have to imagine that they had to back up the money truck for Russell to bring him back too. Like they could have saved quite a bit of money probably going with a different showrunner than to, like they had to convince Russell to come back, and they had to pay him a premium that they wouldn't have for other people. So there's other factors like that too, because like you're bringing Russell back because you want results. You're bringing David Tennant back for those specials because you want results. I'm sure they paid David a stupid amount of money to come back.
But I do remember reading like one of the things that because with the power of the Doctor, it's set up that on that clip side, she'll regenerate. It'll go ahead and cut off Chris Chibnall. They were looking for people to replace him. Nobody wanted the show.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted.
That's a big thing. They like BBC, if they did not find anyone, were ready to just end it.
Yeah.
I would have taken it.
And Sean brings this up, and this is why I'm lenient to both sides when it comes to ratings. It's like, yeah, we're never going to get episodes that are get up to like 7 or 11 million viewers. It's that's just the landscape of like TV and streaming nowadays. More people are hooked into streaming than they are to just watching free to air shows.
I got into watching,
but even then, Doctor Who is, as Sean says, Doctor Who is still one of the biggest money making shows for the BBC and the highest viewed show for the 19 to 35 demographic. So the thing is, it's like it is still, despite like we have like a lot of these like rage bait channels, the very like far right like conservative channels that be like, oh, Doctor Who is dying because of woke, and it's like, no, the BBC is still profiting. It's just not as big as like RTD1 or even Moffat's run.
Well, listen,
it's like, that's when it's at its biggest.
We know it's not going to go back to what it was. Like that is a given. But I don't believe the executives understand that. They want it to go back. They think they're going to find a way to magic it back to what it was in 2010, 2011 or whatever. And that's not happening. But it doesn't mean that TV executives aren't looking at this going, why are the numbers still so low? We thought you were going to bring it up. It didn't go up. It's getting lower, in fact. I mean, because it is continuing to decline. It's like, the same reason, I don't know, Warner Brothers puts out that Halle Berry Catwoman movie and it does poorly. And rather than go, oh, we made a bad movie, they go, people don't want female superheroes. There's proof. Yeah. These are not people who make good. They don't take data and come to good conclusions. So we can look and go, yeah, of course, this has changed. This has changed. It's not going back to this, this, or this. But the executives are looking at that number, and they are seeing that number drop, and they are shitting their pants a little bit about it. And they want to know, why can't we go back to where we were? That's
I mean,
that's exactly that's the big problem with any with any business, any company. It's the numbers. We could have like Doctor Who at like at its best. We could have Doctor Who where like every episode is like a 10 out of 10 episode. It's the best it has ever been in its entire history. But if those viewing numbers are still low, if they're like at 2 million less, the executives are just not going to care. It's like, oh, we hear good things, but we're not seeing it numbers wise.
In some cases, even if they double the numbers, there was a show that was on ABC. Now this is back in the free to live and starting days called Body of Proof. And I remember we used to watch that show the first 2 seasons. I just have to suffer through it because someone else in the household was a fan of it. But like the third season, that show was great. They actually doubled the ratings numbers, and ABC canceled it anyway. And ABC actually owned the damn show, and they canceled it anyway. So it's like, to Landry's point, it's like you don't want to give these guys any reason.
No, they're always looking for a reason to cut. That's the whole thing. Like they're just like they tell you if you're going into pitch meetings, they're looking for a reason to tell you no. That's it.
Yep.
That's always what it is. Like, and at least half of us here know that they are looking for that reason.
And also to play play devil's advocate for the other side, I don't think Russell is also helping. When he came back, he's like, I'm going to make Doctor Who big again. It's going to be the Stranger Things for Doctor Who, not knowing that by this time a lot of people were getting sick of Stranger Things. It's a story that, as much as I really enjoy Stranger Things, it's a story that has gone on for too long. And it's like the thing is, like, when Stranger Things first dropped on Netflix, I feel like that was Netflix. Yep. That's the thing that boosted Netflix.
Yep.
Doctor Who is not boosting Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Whatever Marvel thing they throw onto the service, or Star Wars, whatever, that is what's boosting Disney Plus for a time. Unfortunately, Doctor Who is not going to have that effect. And then also these promises of like, okay, Doctor Who under me, we're going to have the main show. It's going to be every year. We're going to have all of these spin-offs. So far, we have one, and it's not out.
Yes.
And now we have this feeling that, is Doctor Who going to go on a break? Is it going on hiatus? Because remember, when season 1 was airing, season 2 was filming. Season 2 is filming now. We've heard nothing about season 3. So I feel like it's also a thing where the executives are expecting too much. They want it to be like the golden age, but also Russell feeding into that. He's also setting his expectations high. It's probably Russell probably wants that. Russell does not want Doctor Who dead. He wants Doctor Who to still be a thing. He's a fan of the show. He wants it to be alive. No, he came back. He came back on the brink of it, like possibly being put on hiatus if BBC didn't find anyone. So he clearly wants Doctor Who to still be a thing in like the zeitgeist. But he's also not helping in like putting his expectations too high. Like, we're going to make it the biggest thing on Disney Plus. It's going to be the Stranger Things of Disney Plus, of Doctor Who. We're going to have all of these spin-offs. You're going to get all these new people in. We're going to have Ncuti Gatwa, who's big off sex education. He's going to be the Doctor. He's going to bring all these people in as well. And it's like, I can't see it. Like, it's clearly not working to what they were expecting. And I think that's the problem. They put their expectations too high from a business side and from like personal.
Yeah. Well, I'll give Pixel an arrow for his quiver. If nothing else, the season 2 premiere was successful because it's had us talking on this live stream for almost 2 hours. So.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Yes.
That is certain. You know, between the speculation last week and then talking about this episode, these are some of the longest episodes we've had.
Yeah. So, like as Sean says here, like RTD also suffers from overpraising. He's always like it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Which I like. I can understand. You don't want to be like, I made this and I think it's terrible.
I think this sucks.
Yes.
Like you want to try and sell people on your product. You don't want to be like, I didn't put my A game in this and it's bad, so don't watch it. like he's going to obviously oversell what he's doing. Whether he like thinks like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever done. Although his words, what he said about 73 yards, like this is my best script ever. I'm like, okay, settle down, Russell. No, it's not. It's good until the end, but it's not your best. It's not your best script ever.
Definitely.
Yeah, what was it? I do like the opposite of that sometimes though. Like Tim Robinson was on Seth Meyers the other night promoting the new movie he's in, and he talked about how he went to like South by Southwest for the premiere, but he's like, I didn't watch it. I already saw it. I thought they could have trimmed a few minutes from it. So it runs a little long.
Yeah, but did he make it? Or was he just in it?
He was just in it, but his friend like wrote and directed it.
Oh, okay. He says it's kind of a. I feel like at that point that could be just like banter.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But it's like that mix of like it's banter, but it's also still pretty ballsy kind of banter.
Yeah, to be like my friend's film that I was in.
Because they stuck with it. They never he never went back to say like, oh, I'm just teasing, like it's a great movie. Never. Just like
that reminds me of just that just reminds me of Dakota Johnson promoting MMWaB. This is the kind of film your boyfriend would like that was written by AI. And it's like I feel like as an executive at Sony, I'd be like, can someone stop her, please? Like she's supposed to be promoting this garbage.
This isn't Snow White.
Oh, Snow White has a myriad of problems. Rachel Zegler is not one of them.
That's true.
Let's be honest. Rachel is the least of the problems in that film. There are a whole lot of other problems.
Oh, man.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But she certainly didn't help. But anyway, we want to ask you to please.
Okay, Mark Platt.
We're chatty today.
Damn.
Leave a comment down below. What did you think of the episode? Like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel. We'll be back next week for a luxurious time. No?
No.
All right. All right.
Don't quit your day job.
Believe me, I'm not. I have to go back to it tomorrow. All right. Bye, everybody.
Hey, it's Easter Friday for me, so I don't have to. Oh, tomorrow, so I don't have to work.
Aren't you lucky? We'll see you next time.
Easter in Australia.
Alonzi.
Keep hope alive.
Let's visit.